Are you an entrepreneur or business owner? If so, you need to check out the Power Breakfast. The Power Breakfast is New Jersey's premier business networking event for entrepreneurs. The Power Breakfast is a unique forum for learning best practices, enjoying great networking, and gaining useful knowledge. Over the past 10 years, we have hosted more than 1,500 attendees who have directly benefited with revenue growth and financing. Join me at the next Power Breakfast event on October 27th at the Glen Ridge Country Club. The featured guest speaker is Terry Travitt, who will be talking about creating the ultimate business strategy.
At one point in my life, I was the global president for a financial services company. And in 3 years, we improved our profits by over $80 million. And then as a consultant, there's an example of a company I helped in Texas that was about an $8 million company 10 years ago. And organically, I've shown them and helped lead them to grow from an $8 million company to over $200 million today.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rosalind Joyce. I am known as the Expert Maker, and I have a marketing consulting business. And I've been charged with welcoming you to today's breakfast. I'm going to introduce my friend and colleague, Andrew Frazier empowers business owners to maximize the value of their companies by helping them grow revenue, increase profitability, and obtain financing. He guides them along to creating a sustainable business that can run without them. And anybody that's been in business for a while understands the value of that. He does that through invaluable coaching, consulting, and training services. Mr. Frazier has worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught thousands of people about business. His expertise in business strategy and financial management enables him to take a holistic perspective and provide more optimal solutions for clients. Mr. Frazier's book, Running Your Small Business Like a Pro, helps people increase the likelihood and magnitude of their success in business. He's also produced Power Breakfast events in Northern New Jersey for almost 10 years, generating $10 million in both economic impact and financing for more than 1,000 attendees. His online Small Business Club University provides entrepreneurs with access to the best practices and useful knowledge for running their businesses more professionally. Mr. Frazier's new book, The Masterpreneur Playbook, outlines a proven 5-step business growth plan for taking your business from startup to scaling. Andrew hosts the Leadership Live at 5, Talking Small Business podcast and live streams weekly. You've got to listen to this show, it's excellent. His articles have appeared in the digital edition of Sales and Marketing Management and Octane, the Worldwide Entrepreneurs Organization blog, Inc.com, and Small Biz Daily, American Entrepreneurship.com, and New Jersey Business Magazine. He was also interviewed on RBN TV, Family Business World Show, and the syndicated School for Startups radio show. Andrew graduated from MIT with a BS in Mechanical Engineering, earned an MBA in Finance from NYU, and achieved the Chartered Financial Analysis, the CFA designation. His background includes, now this is pretty diverse, experience as a naval officer, thank you for your service, operations manager, corporate executive, investment manager, real estate investor, nonprofit leader, board member, business owner, professor, coach, consultant, trainer, and as I mentioned, author. Thank you so much for coming today. Please give your attention to Mr. Andrew Frazier. So I have been following Andrew. I'm not sure how we linked up somehow on LinkedIn. I still haven't figured out who our connection was. Maybe it was Precious Williams. And I was at my first breakfast with him. He sits across the table during lunch and asks, "Oh, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from?" And he gets to me and says, where do you live? And I'm like, Montclair. He goes, so do I. I'm like, really? Look at that. And so he mentions a well-known politician that's in town and says, I live next door to her. I went, I live next door to her.
Oh.
We figured out that literally our side yards touch. However, in my defense, we moved in 2 weeks before COVID shut us all down. So I hadn't met any of my neighbors. So that's why we have not met. But one of the things that's not in his bio that I can tell you personally is what a good person he is. And nowadays, I think that matters. He would shovel when it would snow. We moved into the house where my elderly in-laws are. And he would shovel their yard when it would snow. Each time it snowed, he would take care of that, knowing that here were these 80-year-old people who needed help. So thank you so much for that. I'll say that publicly.
Thank you. Thanks, Ross. Thanks for the great intro and welcome. Just want to welcome everyone to the Power Breakfast. And for those of you who are new at the Power Breakfast, what we do is our goal is to supercharge your day. So what does that mean? That means that you have an experience here that you learn, connect, and get excited about leaving here way more excited and ready to go as far as being more successful in your business and in business than you were before you came here. So that's our goal. So that's what you can rate us on. Hopefully we started out good with the food, and that's just the beginning. We have a great program here today. So a couple of things that are important about program is one, support. So we appreciate the support of everyone taking time out of their busy schedule to join us. We've done these for over 10 years, and it's helped a lot of people. And we have supporters and sponsors. I just want to mention real quick today. We have Lakeland Bank. They're actually our title sponsor today, which is great. So thank you. And they've been great to work with. They're doing good things. And they've got their table over there. Definitely check them out to talk to them. But not only that, as part of their sponsorship, they actually purchased copies of my book. So they are giving them out for free to whoever comes over and talks to them. So another reason to come and say hello.
At Lakeland Bank, we've been serving communities for over 50 years. We're more than just a local bank. We're your partner for all of life's milestones. We offer the products and lending power you need and the warm, responsive service you deserve. The relationships we build with our customers last, and that's why we've been recognized as one of America's best in-state banks for 5 consecutive years and New Jersey's only 5-year champion. Visit us and see what sets us apart. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We also have Columbia Bank. Columbia does some great things in the community. We're up here. We've known each other for a long time. We were in the Newark Regional Business Partnership together, and we would hang out and chat. And there are a whole bunch of bankers, and really, it's important to develop relationships, and that's what it's all about in business and in life. So thanks, Robert. Thank you, Columbia, for also sponsoring and supporting the event. So thank you. And then we have Gene Mahinsky from Archer Strategies, and he's a business strategist. He runs a TAB chapter, which is the advisory board organization for entrepreneurs and business owners to meet and connect and really have an advisory board of their peers. And then he just opened a new venture, so he's doesn't like to sleep too much, I guess. But his new venture is, he's been working with virtual assistants over the Philippines for several years. So this year actually is his VAs over there talked to him about really opening up a call center and a major business. So he's got a floor in a building over the Philippines. He's got like 40 Filipinos who are doing call center, but also virtual assistant for small business. And that's huge because, as a business owner, there's never enough time, there's never enough skill. So having a group where the VAs come in and actually work from his offices and he does training, so it creates a great environment to help entrepreneurs and business owners. I have one full time, and that makes such a big difference. So thanks again, Gene. Thanks for sponsoring as well. Okay. We also have nonprofit partners. Rising Tide Capital, for many of you who may know about them here in New Jersey. They're doing great things for entrepreneurs. They do their programming in English and Spanish, and been working with them for probably almost 10 years now, coaching, consulting, and teaching in their community business academy. We've also got Empower the Village, and they're focused on empowerment for African Americans across sectors in terms of economic, in terms of political, and in terms of health and medical. And they're doing great things, and I help them with their entrepreneurial programs. So definitely those are our social impact partners that we support and sponsor. So that's a little bit about what we do. We're doing this through the Small Business Pro University, which is
Do you own your business, or does it own you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program, or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive, and make more money in any business environment.
That's a little bit about what we're doing. Great that you're here to participate. We've got a lot of other great things going on, so you're welcome to participate in those as well.
This year, we launch.
Your business can only go as far as you're prepared to lead it. You need access to expert advice, important connections, and valuable resources to achieve your goals. What can we do to help? I created the Small Business Pro Network to help you to grow your business smarter, faster, and easier by meeting you where you are along your journey from startup to scaling. We will help you to accelerate your growth, maximize your profitability, and create a sustainable business that can run successfully without you. But how do we do this? As a member of the Small Business Pro Network, you'll have access to private, in-person, and online networking activities to build valuable relationships with important connections, expert advice and curated content to help you gain the knowledge you need to grow revenue and increase profit, and our proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook and weekly action plans will guide you along the critical path for creating a sustainable business that can run without you. Where can you get all of this for less than $1 a day? Only at the Small Business Pro Network, www.sbpronetwork.com.
Next year, we will be launching.
Are you running your business, or is it running you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? Are you having cash flow issues, or do you need financing? Like most business owners, you probably don't have a strategic plan for 2024. Not to worry, we're going to help you make 2024 your best year ever. That's why we created the Masterpreneur Training Program. You'll learn from the experts about how to work on your business and not in your business, and scale your business for greater profit. The Masterpreneur Training Program is specifically tailored to help you gain advanced knowledge
to be able to create a sustainable business that can run without you. The Masterpreneur Training Program will teach you to prepare yourself and your business for scaling successfully. The Masterpreneur Training Program features online and virtual activities that are measurably broader, deeper, and more comprehensive than other training programs. And the Masterpreneur Training Program is specifically tailored to help you gain advanced knowledge about working on your business rather than in it. If you want to make this happen even faster and easier, you should register for the Masterpreneur Growth Accelerator Program, an instructor-led program with a group of your peers. Register now to make 2024 your best year ever. Visit sbpru.com/masterpreneur-training.
And also,
Are you having difficulty overcoming challenges in your business? Is your business stuck and you're not sure how best to move forward? Do you want to significantly increase your revenue and profitability? Like most business owners, you may not have a strategic growth plan. Not a problem. That's why we created the Masterpreneur Growth Accelerator to help you to scale your business faster and easier. This is an instructor-led, hands-on program to help you scale your business for greater profit. I'm Andrew Frazier, founder of the Small Business Pro University and creator of the Masterpreneur Playbook methodology for scaling your business. I've worked one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners, helping them to sell more, make more, and get financing when they need it. I'll be personally guiding you and your peers through my proprietary strategies on how to work on your business and not in it, developing the optimal strategic growth plan, and scaling your business for greater profit. The Masterpreneur Growth Accelerator is specifically tailored to help you gain advanced knowledge of how to create a sustainable business that can run without you. Learn how to overcome key challenges and take your business to the next level. Develop the leadership skills necessary to successfully work on your business. Get your questions answered during our weekly live virtual coaching sessions and participate in networking, training, and business roundtable activities. If you want to scale your business faster and easier, register now to make 2024 your best year ever. Visit sbpru.com/masterpreneur-training. This morning, really what we're here to really learn, education is so important. One of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs and business owners is they're not necessarily prepared for what they're trying to do. And a big piece of it is knowledge and education. So in addition to networking and connecting, we try and help them gain valuable knowledge. So we bring speakers, people that they normally wouldn't have a chance to work with or talk to or listen to or meet. That could be inspiring, educational, and today we've got a great guest speaker, someone I've known for many years, from corporate to he's a business owner, entrepreneur, and just a great guy. Very involved in his church, very involved in supporting people, and he'll be able to tell you a little bit more about him and what he's doing and what he's done. And also, he's having us as a guest here at the club as he's a member. So his name's Terry Travick. I'm not going to say too much because you'll hear from him. And excited about hearing from him. I always learn something, and I'm sure you will too. So welcome, Terry Travick. Come on up. All right. Well, good morning.
Morning.
I do think Andrew's done some great stuff for entrepreneurs. He's been doing it for years. I'm from Montclair as well, so I think I know my neighbors, but maybe I have a neighbor here today. I don't know. I saw something interesting the other day. There was a couple that were riding horses together, and the horse that the lady was riding, it just kept bucking, and she said to the horse, "That's one." Then the horse bucked again. And she said, "That's two." The horse bucked for a third time. She took out her pistol and shot the horse. She said, "That's 3," and shot the horse. Her husband says, "What in the heck are you doing?" She said, "That's 1." So I got that joke from my pastor. But today I want to talk about the ultimate business strategy. Strategy is something I really enjoy doing, and I wanted to share with you today some of the secrets that I've found over the years from my time in corporate America, as well as my time as a business consultant. Let me start by saying there are infinite ways to make money, a lot of ways to make money. And I believe if you really put some thought to it, you can find a way to make money in your business, as much money as you want. I'm just going to go through some examples. When I was at Procter & Gamble, we had a business called Fixed Throat Drops, and we were losing about $10 million a year. It was a small brand relative to all the other big mega brands at Procter & Gamble. So they asked me and another guy to try to turn that brand around. So we traveled over to Germany, and because in Germany, they use a lot of cough drops. So we went over there to try to figure out what we could reapply. So one strategy we used was what we call the brand piggyback strategy. Because we were spending a significant amount of money in marketing for Vicks, but still losing money, what we did on that particular brand was to rename it. It was Vicks by Chloraseptic. And Chloraseptic had a lot stronger efficacy brand, if you will, and compete more with Halls. And it took us from losing about $10 million in that brand to making $10 million because we were able to cut our marketing expenses and piggyback on the Chloraseptic marketing expenses. We also did some things like took a price increase by reducing the amount of drops in the bag, right? It usually comes with 30 in the bag. We took it down to 25 and still charged 99 cents. Now, we're talking about years ago. 99 cents took you a long way back then. So that's one way we made money there. In the book printing business, when I was VP of Finance at R. Donnelley for book printing, we weren't making a lot of money in the book printing business because the industry had a lot of supply. It had overcapacity. So what was happening is we were fighting for the business because all of us were trying to fill up our capacity. We were the number 1 printer, so the strategy we put in place was, let's take some supply out of the industry. And when we took supply out of the industry, now there was more demand than supply, which caused a price increase and allowed us to significantly increase our profits. When I was the global president for R. Donnelley Capital Markets Group, we were number 2, and we were losing $20 million a year. And they asked me to run the business, and we put a strategy in place that was really focused on service. What we found when we did our homework was basically the industry was satisfied with 85% on-time delivery as far as us and our competitors. And no one was really focused on service. But when we did our homework, we said we can win by really improving service. So we put a lot of new service initiatives in place, really improved our service. We went from delivering 85% on time to like 93% on time. We also were number 2 at the time. And so every dollar our competitors had in revenue, we had 63 cents. But then when we improved our service, we got up to every dollar that they had, we had 93 cents. So we significantly closed the gap by really understanding how we wanted to differentiate ourselves and then align our resources to that. I left when we got to 92 cents versus their $1. I left to start my own consulting business. But the guy who followed me called me about a year and a half later and said, guess what? We continue to execute on our strategy, and we're now number 1 versus our competitor by really focusing on service. A year later, he gave me a call and said, guess what? We just bought the company that used to be number 1. There's multiple ways to make money. When you think about, I now help sort of run a home building business in Texas. And we put additional services offerings in place and some growth capital. We provided growth capital to the home builder. When I started helping the home builder, it was $8 million in revenue. Today it's 275 million, and we added 5 more companies to the home builder just by being clear on our strategy and executing. I helped a company in Missouri. They do dehydrated foods. So they take, those chicken bones that there used to be a day, and I'm not going to age anybody, but anybody remember themselves, or you blame your parent, when they grab the chicken and they choke it and rip his neck and then gut the chicken themselves, right? Remember those days? You hear anybody read in their history books? Well, that happened, right? But then when you have fast food, what happens is everybody just goes to McDonald's and they get the chicken breast. So what happens to when you take off the chicken breast, what happens to the bones and the meat that's still on those bones? Well, there's a company in Missouri called American Dehydrated Foods that buys all of those bones and that little bitty pieces of meat that's still on those bones, and they run it through a process. And what comes out of that process are things that can make bouillon cubes, seasoning, broth for soups, fat that goes in different products. So nothing gets wasted in agriculture. So they created this business. We put a strategy in place. They're a $300 million valuation. We put a strategy in place to help them by focusing on mixed management. So what we did was we said, there's only one source coming in, chicken bones. What's the most optimal output? Is it broth? Is it fat? Is it, powder? Whatever it is, let's sell more of that based on, so we're basically trying to optimize that chicken bone to the most efficient and most effective and most profitable output. When we started helping them, they were worth $300 million. They sold their company for $900 million 5 years later. And then my business, what do? I have a unique gift where I'm able to leverage how to create value. I can create value strategically. I can do it through leading, and I can also do it by funding. That's my gift. That's what I do. I look at companies and I find ways to create as much value as I can. I have a consulting company, and you've heard some of the things we do from a consulting standpoint. I also have a private equity firm, and we provide funding for a lot of our clients as well, specifically in the real estate industry. And we create value, significant value for our investors because we figured out the formula to create value. I'm going to share some of that formula with you today. And as I share today, these are things that have worked for me. It may not work for you. So if there's things that you don't like, or if there's things you like, chew on it, right? Digest it. If there are things you don't like, spit it out. Spit out the bones, right? Because these are the things I'm sharing with you what has worked for me. And you guys can decide whether or not it makes sense for you, okay? So there's some key principles I want to start with. The first one, there are no mature businesses, but there is often mature thinking. There's always a way. Who thought you could go from a $300 million business to a $900 million business with chicken bones, right? There's always a way to make money. There's mature thinking, but you can find ways to make money in your business. You have to keep pushing. We've stopped pushing. We've got to keep pushing. One thing, there's a saying that our insights drive our beliefs drive our behaviors, and our behaviors drive our results. So if you get some insight in your business, and to the point where you can see it clearly, you start believing it, then change your behaviors so that you can go execute on that insight. And it's when you change your behaviors and decide to execute that you then get the results. You won't make money in real life without first making money on paper. That means you have to have a plan. That means you have to calculate how much you need to spend to execute the plan. That means during the plan is when you need to make the adjustments until at the bottom line you see that I'm making money. You don't want to just jump into the business and figure it out along the way because you're going to waste a lot of resources. So have a plan, make money on paper first, and test it, stress test it, then go
with a new initiative or a new business. And then the final thing I'll say is, as a key strategy principle, the leader's job is to align everything to the strategy and to ensure that everything remains aligned. Sometimes you can get a strategy all laid out and you get started well, but then you lose focus. And as a leader, you have to keep everybody focused. There's no way you go from 300 million to 900 million without focus. There's no way you go from an $8 million home business to almost 300 million with 5 additional companies without focus. It requires focus. So those are some key principles I want to share with you. Strategy starts with homework. You got to do your homework. You've got to do your market analysis. You got to be clear on the facts. What's going on in the market? What's going on internally? Where are we doing well? Where are we not doing so well? How do our people feel? Where are we making money? What's our cost per unit? What's our price per unit? What's our mix? What's our optimal mix? Questions like that internally. Externally, what's going on with our customers? What do they want? What are they buying? Who are our key customers? Are we depending on just a handful of customers, or do we have a good diversity of customers? What's the value chain look like? Who's making money in the value chain? Is it us? Is it our suppliers? Is it our customers? Where is the money? And how do we get a piece of it? How do we get our fair share of that value chain? Environmental analysis. What's going on with government trends? Differences in government. How will that impact my business? What's going on with overall economy, the market, et cetera? You've also got derived demand analysis. What is the key demand driver in your business? So in home business, for instance, key drivers are employment rate and interest rates. So if you understand those and you track those, you can predict sort of where your business is going to go, and you can make the adjustment, faster. So really understanding what drives your demand in your business is critical. Then there's some competitive analysis. Who am I competing with? How are they positioning themselves? Where do we want to play versus them, et cetera? And finally, the microeconomic analysis, and that's more of those internal things on how well you're doing within your organization. So here's my business alignment process. And everything has to align. It starts with an aspiration. What do you want to achieve? That's your aspiration. And simply asking that question. What do I want to achieve? How much do I want to create in value this year? What am I aspiring to do in this business? The second one is, how will you achieve your goals? So you see, strategy just simply answers the question how. If you know what it is you want, strategy simply says, here's how I'm going to get it. It's that simple. I try to make strategy simple. It's simple, it's not easy, but it's simple, right? It's just around executing over and over and over again. Getting up doing the same thing every day. It's pretty boring. But if you got to focus, you got to stay focused. You got to just keep executing every day the same thing. Wake up every morning. Okay, here's my strategy. Do more of this every day. Every day. Get every one of your people saying every day. This is what I'm working on. Every day. People should not be confused why they exist in their role. They should know exactly why they exist, because they're getting up every day to execute on that strategy. The structures around the people, processes, and systems that you need to support your strategy. So for instance, if you decide that service is going to be a strategy, well, you probably need a VP of service, as an example, in your structure. You maybe need to map out all your customer touch points and figure out how you're going to deliver service at each touch point so that you wow that customer, as an example. So that's a process. Maybe you put a system in place so that it makes it easy for the customer to do business with you. So it has to align with your strategy. Your culture is the attitudes, the behaviors, the beliefs, the rewards, the things that you want people to do and how you want them to behave and represent you. But that culture must align to the strategy as well. There's a saying that you can have the greatest strategy in the world, but your culture can eat the strategy for lunch. Your culture can kill your business if you don't spend time on your culture. So it's important. Then you have your programs. Once you figure out your strategy, you can't get it all done in one day. If you're again, service is your strategy. There's 1,000 things you can do to improve service. You can't do all 1,000 at the same time. You have to lay out a roadmap to say, I'm going to do these 3 this year, do these 3 the next year, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where programs come in. You are putting the roadmap in place, and then you have your initiatives lined up to support it. Your money, your checkbook should represent your strategy. So if you say, again, service is my strategy, and all the checks you've written are to programs other than service, then you're probably not executing your strategy. You should be able to tell the story by where you're writing checks, on whether or not you're executing your strategy. And then, resource and capital priorities. And then, of course, you can't do any of this, or you shouldn't do any of this without keeping track of where you are along the way. So metrics are important. So let's just take a quick example. This is a very simple example. Let's say we wanted to go from here to California. Okay, that's the what, right? So that's my aspiration. I aspire to be in California. Okay, how do I get there? Anybody? How would you go? What? What kind of transportation? By air. Is that the only option? What else? Train. What else? Drive. What else? Bus.
I know somebody who walked from California.
See? All right. What else?
New York. Bike.
Right. See. The point I'm making is the aspiration is getting to California. You see how many different ways you can get there? You just have to pick one. The problem we have typically is people don't want to make a choice. So you got half the team that's trying to build a bike. You got another team trying to build the airplane. You got another team trying to build the bus. You see how costly that becomes? Because you've got multiple ways, because you haven't been clear. You haven't been clear on the how. How am I going to get there, guys? We are flying. That's what we're doing. Now, you have to be clear on when you have to get there. So I got to get there in a week. I probably can't walk anymore, right? If I got to get there in 3 days, 2 days, driving is going to be, depends on who's driving, but driving is going to be a little tough, right? And then I can't take a boat all the way around through the Panama Canal and all that to get there in a couple of days. So it's not only how, but not only what, it's when as well, right? It's important to know. And then that starts shrinking your strategies. But the point I'm really trying to make is the biggest mistake is not the strategy you choose. The biggest mistake is not choosing one, right? Because people are all over the place, and you see all the money it can cost you because you haven't been clear. That's an example. I won't go through all the other. I'll skip to metrics, right? I got my dad, if I'm driving, right? My dashboard tells me how fast I'm driving, how far away I am from California. Am I going to get there in 3 days or not? It tells me whether I'm on track or not. So if I got a flat tire on my way there, it's like, I can't get there now. I got to adjust my strategy. And then I'm going to stop in Iowa and I'm going to get on a plane because I still want to get there in 3 days. So that's what metrics are meant to do. It's meant to help you understand where you are relative to your strategy so that you can keep track and make sure you're on track. And if you're not, you make the adjustments. Okay? I'm now going to talk about strategy, and we're going to break strategy down. And there's 3 fundamental questions you want to ask when you're looking at strategy. 1, how will we grow this business? You need a strategy for that. Number 2, how will we optimize the business? Optimization just means make sure our operations are running smoothly, make sure that we're maximizing or minimizing the cost in the business, make sure we have quality products, good things like that in your business. But that's the question you need to ask. And then the third question is, how will we distinguish ourselves versus the competition? What are we going to stand on and say we're unique in this area? Okay? So, excuse me. I'm going to talk about how to grow the business. There's fundamentally two ways to grow the business. You can either offer your one product to more customers, right? So I start, beauty salon, let's say, and that's all I do. I'm going to open up a business salon in Montclair. I'm going to open up one in West Orange, one South Orange, etc. So I'm growing by taking that same product and expanding it to different places. The other way, fundamentally, to grow a business is I'm going to take my one customer set and I'm going to offer them more products. So I know who my customer set is. So I'll give an example in the home building business. We know our customers are people who want to buy homes. So we not only sell them homes, we also sell them mortgages, same customer set, more products. We also sell them titles, same customer set, more product, right? So understanding, so those are fundamentally the two ways to grow. There's also a third way, which is to do both of those, right? And I call that kind of reapplying your core competency. So my core competency is creating value. So I can grow by offering new products and grow by offering new customers or getting new customers and offering those customers more and more. So with some of my customers, I offer them strategy, right? I also offer them execution. Like, hey, if you're not comfortable executing, we will help you with execution. And also offer them funding. So 3 different services for one customer. But I also don't just deal with one customer. I help with the housing industry, chicken bone industry, all kind of industries, right? We've done stuff in energy, we've done stuff in senior living, just a number of things. But you get the point I'm making, right? One product, more customers, same customer, more product, or a combination of the two. Right? Any questions on that? The other thing, we talked a little bit about optimization. Let me go to how you distinguish yourselves. There's 5 fundamental ways you can distinguish yourself. You can either distinguish yourself on speed, because you have the quickest turnaround, you're faster than your competitors, you can get it done faster. You can differentiate on service. I'm the best service provider. Service is really just about making it easier for people to do business with you. So everybody else is hard, but when you come with us, it's easy. I have my wife, and I've heard in history, in a lot of beauty salons, especially, I can call out the African Americans in the room, but the African American beauty salons, notorious for bad service. Because you sit there for hours upon hours waiting, and you get double booked, triple booked, etc. Anybody had that experience? Okay, all right. Maybe it's bad history that I didn't hear. I'm right. Okay. But how about that? When my wife started going up to a beauty salon that was always on time, and they paid a premium. She paid a premium for it because being on time, good service. She's a busy woman. Was important to her, right? And they were able to distinguish themselves because of that, because they knew the competition, right? So what I say, speed, service, quality is the way you can distinguish yourself versus your competition. Innovation is another way, and then the other is the low-cost provider. Those are ways that you can the 5 fundamental ways to distinguish yourself. Now, here's the key, though. You've got to be within relative parity to your competition across all 5 of those. So, for instance, let's say the beauty salon scenario I mentioned. You can go to another beauty salon for their service, and you'd be okay with how much more. If you knew you could get out on time, let's say what it costs these days, ladies, to get a decent hair? 200? Wow. Man, are we glad all the bald guys in the room? That's one of my value creation ideas. Stay bald. Right?
It depends what you're getting done, right? Like $40, $50 for a haircut. and you go up from there.
Well, even that, right? Whoa, okay, good.
It's easier to be bold.
It is easy to be small, right? But let's say it's 200. How much more would you pay for being on time?
50%.
You pay 300 for being on time? Anybody? What's some other answer? 215? Okay, 215. So you'd be willing to pay 215 when you go next. you can go home and be with the kids. You're willing to pay $15 more. Now some people would say, I'm willing to pay the 200 to avoid going home and be with the kids. I'd rather sit in the beauty salon, right? So the good parents, raise your hand, right? but all jokes aside, the point is you're willing to pay a little bit more, right? If that was important to you. You're not gonna pay $400, right?
I'd pay $4 if it came to me.
That's a different service, right?
Same service, different location.
But I'm saying the additional service is the fact they're coming to you,
Sure.
right? Yeah. But the point though, so you pay 400, but the point really is, as you find the things you want to be distinctive in, you still have to be at relative parity to things like price, quality, etc. So you can't charge like 5 times more just because you offer good service, but you can charge a premium. You can't have bad quality because you have lower price. You still have to have a relatively decent quality, right?
But you're talking about servicing the same customer base, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you get what I'm saying? You can't. You pick one to be superior versus everybody in. So whether service, speed, quality, innovation, or lowest price. But on the other things, you still have to be within a certain range. You can't be significantly less than the other things, right? So you can't have great service but just horrible quality. You can't have great service. Well, you can't have great service, but you're really slow from a speed standpoint. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So pick one to be exceptional in, but on the rest of the things, you still have to be close to parity. So you still have to invest in the quality of your pick service. You still have to invest in getting your speed better, etc. But the thing that's going to separate you is what's going to distinguish you. That's the thing that people come to you for. They come to you because they know your service is good, or they come to you because of the quality. And that's what you want to focus on from a branding standpoint, what you want to talk about, over and over again. So those are different ways to distinguish yourself versus your competition. All right, so the strategy process should start with clarifying your purpose. All right. And Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you." If anybody knows the scripture, it's the do not worry scripture. It's the part where you talk about God will clothe the flowers and feed the birds. So of course he'll take care of you. But the key here is seeking first his kingdom to find out what your purpose is. You have to know your purpose. If you're out here doing business without clear about what your purpose is, then you might miss that all these other things will be given to you, right? When you go out and you're just trying to get rich as your purpose, you're going to miss out on all these other things will be given to you. So I would encourage you guys that everything that I do is connected to my purpose after seeking my life call. If you're spending the majority of your time in business without knowing what your purpose is, I would challenge whether or not you're wasting your time. Like I said up front, chew the meat, spit out the bones. If it doesn't apply to you, ignore it. I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay, is that fair? Yes. Okay, I'm just telling you what works for me. So, my purpose, my life purpose, is this. Through much prayer, every hour of every day in every country, someone will be helped by what I do. So I've just been nominated to be chairman of Water.org. Water.org is co-founded by Gary White and Matt Damon, the actor. And we put water projects in throughout the world. Every hour, every day, someone will be helped by me. So chairing that organization, I'm able to help fulfill my purpose, right? I'm the vice chair of Christ Church in Montclair, New Jersey, Rockaway. Pastor David Ireland is our chairman, 8,000 member church. Big giver to the church. Every hour, every day, in every country, someone will be helped by me. My focus, my strategy is to grow my business by applying my value creation ability through offering various value creation services. As I talked about, strategy, execution, and funding. My distinction is I create measurable results. That's another word for quality. That's how I distinguish myself, measurable results. My customers are businesses that have a philanthropic agenda. Every hour, every day, every country, someone will be helped by the work that I do. That chicken bone company, the biggest philanthropic company in Missouri, in Springfield, Missouri, right? That home building company, we give throughout the world. Have a partnership. We build multifamily. We give 30% of all of our profits away. I'm starting a new fund, fund number 3. We're giving 100% of our carry away. I sit on the board of a company, or the president's circle of an organization called One Hope. We've reached 2 billion children around the world. Know your purpose. My results. All these things have been added. Joy, happiness, healthy marriage, financial, financial barns overflowing, great relationships, minimal worry, and balance. I do all these things with my pajamas on most days, from the comfort of my home. I run a business in Texas from my desk in Montclair, New Jersey, because I know my purpose. And then the promise is all these things will be added, right? So knowing your purpose is important, and then try to integrate that with your business. So strategy starts with knowing your purpose, and then you line everything to that, including your business, including your activities, including the boards you sit on, etc. So strategy answers the question how. It's up to each of us to figure out how we're going to execute it. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My name is Marcella. I missed the beginning of your talk, so forgive me if you covered this.
Okay, sure.
What was your inspiration for tying in like the philanthropic angle as well and bringing this all together? Because from what I've seen since I'm here, you're very impressive.
Oh, thank you. Well, it was a long story. It was a long story. So we can do it offline, or
Oh, no, we want to hear the backstory.
you want to hear the backstory?
We want to
I
hear
mean,
it.
who wants to do it offline? Oh, well, okay, well. All right, here we go. Chew the meat, spit out the bones, and that's all I can tell you, right? So about 24 years ago, my wife and I lived in Chicago. We had 3 kids, twins that were 13 months old. One night, my wife heard my son in there, born perfectly normal, and went in there and he was having a seizure. Called the ambulance, rushed him to the hospital, and he was in a coma, right? And they tried to figure out what was going on. They realized that he had meningitis. So meningitis had attacked him, and it was a life or death situation. And the next couple of nights, it was back and forth. They come in and say, hey, now has pneumonia, and now his kidneys aren't working. Now fluids building up in his brains. They're looking at him saying, he's not responding to light in his eyes. Came in and said, hey, this is, touch and go. So one day, like 3 days after that, They said we're going to have to put a shunt in his brain. And quite frankly, I couldn't take it anymore. So I just went to a room by myself, and I've gone to church all my life. I went to a room by myself, and I just cried out to the Lord. And I was like, God, I had no other option. And the only option I could think of was just to give up my own life. And I begged him. I said, God, take me. But whatever you do, don't take my son. And I was begging, tears in my eyes, just begging, Lord, please just take me. I had no other option, right? And I'd gone to church all my life, and for the first time in my life, I had an encounter with God. And it went like this. He said, I'll take you, but I'll take you to be part of my kingdom here on earth. And from this day forward, you'll do whatever I tell you to do, and you'll go wherever I tell you to go. I want you, all of you. And then he said these words to me, and don't worry, your son is fine. And I woke up, and I was, I didn't know what had just happened. It was like I was in a whole different zone somewhere, a whole different universe. And I woke up with tears, but because I didn't know what was happening, I didn't say anything to anybody. I was trying to figure it out myself. My boss calls me, and he says, Terry, my son's name is Miles. How's Miles doing? Miles is still in a coma, right? I mean, nothing's changed from what I can see. And I go, he made it to the night, but he's still not out of the woods yet. And when I said that, I got this feeling in my stomach, like, why are you saying that? Because I'm still trying to reconcile this thing I just heard from God. So I'm like, why can I keep saying this? The next day, my boss calls me again. He has an exact same question. And I struggled, almost said something, but then I said, I'm the executive at this point in time. I'm not going to tell my boss I just talked to God. That seems like a fireable offense. You just lost it. You just lost it. So I'm not going to tell him that. So I said, he's not out of the woods yet. And man, it was like I got punched in the stomach. And I still hadn't said anything to anybody. But I skipped a piece, right? One night they came to my son's room, and it was a cold blue. And I wake up, my wife and I are in the hospital, we rise up, and they're pumping his heart. They're like, stay with us, Miles, stay with us, Miles, stay with us, Miles. And I said this subconsciously, but I said it out loud with pure calmness, because this is what God had put in mind. And I didn't realize I was saying it, but I said it. I rose up and I looked at my wife and said, don't worry, he's fine. Because that's what God had just said to me the day before. And I just said it naturally, like, don't worry, he's fine. As soon as I said it, beep, 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 the heartbeat came back. Wow. But anyway, fast forward. So 2 days of saying he's not out of the woods yet. And I don't read comic strips, but when you're in a hospital with a kid in a coma, there's nothing else to do, just you and him sitting there, and I'm waiting. So I'm reading the entire Chicago Tribune. We lived in Chicago then. And I get to the comic section. I'm reading every comic strip that I haven't read since I was a kid. And I get to one comic strip, and there's only a few words in the strip. There's a picture of trees, and it was like a forest. All the trees have been cut down except 2. And the only words in this comic strip was one tree saying to the other, I wish you stopped saying we're not out of the woods yet. I said, God, I get it. Don't say what the world says. Don't say what the doctors say. Say what you say. I took that comic strip and put it on my son's bed and taped it on his bed. And every time the doctors came in and said, things don't look too good, I was like, get out of here, man. Do not say that in my son's room. My son is healed. My son is restored. He's still in his coma. I called all the doctors. He had a nephrologist, brain surgeon, GI specialist. He had every specialist in the hospital. And the hospital tells us to this day, only time they've ever seen a family do this is demanded every specialist come into the room. So the room was probably about half the size of doctors. And I said, all of you be there. And they came. And here's the only thing I asked them. I said, look, I'm not asking you to believe what I believe, but I'm asking you to stop saying what my son won't do and to do your best to do your part. And they all agreed to that. And slowly, day by day, my wife was holding him in her arms, and I walk in the room. He couldn't hear, remember? He couldn't see, he couldn't do anything. She's holding him. I walk behind him, and I go, "What's up, Miles?" And he goes, "Dad, Dad." That was the first word he had said coming out of the coma. So we take him home, and he still couldn't see. One day, he's just sitting in his chair, and I walk by him, and I see him track me with his eyes. So now he can see. They say he'd never walk again, but my wife and I just were determined, because we heard from the Lord that he would do this. And he did. He walks, he runs, he plays on his computer, he dances, he's full of joy. He still has some developmental delays, but God is worthy. So remember, I made that promise that when I said, "Take me," and he said, "I'll take you, but I want you to do whatever I tell you to do, whenever I tell you to do it." I left corporate America at the height of my career without a job because God told me to. I had no idea where I was going. So I just went to work for my church for a while just as a holding spot. And I was global president, 44 years old. Still had a lot of career in front of me. God told me to that very next day, I get a call from a headhunter saying, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to be CEO of this company in Minneapolis." And I'm driving, my wife's in the car with me, and I go, "CEO?" And my wife looks at me and said, "Don't even think about it. Don't even." So it helps to have a partner who believes what you believe. Remember what I said earlier? Insights drive beliefs. Beliefs drive behaviors, and behaviors drive results. I got an insight from the Lord. I believed him. I changed my behavior. And now everything, all these things shall be added. So with that, thank you for having me, and best of luck to everybody.
Well, thank you, Terry. This was great. I don't even have to ask questions, but I'm going to ask it anyways. At the beginning, we said that our goal here is to supercharge your day, to have you leave much more excited, encouraged about really taking on the world and moving forward with your business and what you're working on. So, with a show of hands, have we supercharged your day? Excellent. And thanks to Terry, this has been great, but this has only been half of our event. So, we're already achieved our goals 50%, but we're with 50% of only doing 50% of what we're going to do today. So, very excited. This has been great. I learned a lot. Terry's continued to be great and supportive of what we're doing. Thanks to everybody for being here. What we have is, one of the key things is, it's important to learn, but it's important to develop relationships if you're going to be successful in business. So we try and take about 50% of our time for networking and the opportunity to do that. So we do have a panel. Our next panel, we're going to talk about financing and how to finance your business faster and easier. We've got some great panelists. We've got Daniel. He's here from Lakeland Bank. We've got Robert. He's here from Columbia Bank. And I think we've got our last panelist who's still headed here. Damian Jackson, hopefully he's not going to be tied up too long. And we're really going to talk about some key things about being able to finance your business more successfully.